In the state of Minas Gerais, Brazil, deep in the Atlantic Rainforest, lies an ambitious environmental project. Iracambi.
I was born and brought up on a farm, and I always wanted to be a farmer. But it very soon became apparent when I started farming that the question of the land, the very seriously degraded land, and all the other environmental problems that the farm was facing was very closely related to the question of the forest, and you couldn't really separate the one from the other.
Robin Le Breton founded Iracambi in 1989. His dream is a big one: to make the conservation of the Atlantic rainforest more attractive than its destruction.
If you look up the hillside there, you can see there's a lot of forest on the upper reaches of the slopes, and that's the area which really needs to be preserved. That's what we're planning to do here.
The Atlantic rainforest once covered 1.3 million square kilometres, stretching down Brazil's eastern flank to Paraguay and Argentina. It's an area recognised by the United Nations as one of Earth's top 5 biodiversity hotspots. 80% of Brazil's endangered species live here. Many are found nowhere else on the planet. But today, 93% of this unique environment has been destroyed.
The area we're in now, this is already the last big stretch of this particular type of Atlantic forest. The Atlantic forest has very different kinds of classifications, but this, which is called the Semideciduous Upland forest, this is the largest chunk left in the state of Minas Gerais.
In 2011, funded by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, Iracambi acquired this new 50-hectare reserve. The aim is to reforest the land with native trees.
As you can see, if you look on the other side of the hill there, the forest is severely fragmented, and the biodiversity of each little piece of forest fragment doesn't survive very long in a small patch. You really need to have a certain minimum size for the biodiversity to survive. We want to join them all up together to make one big forest mass and restore a complete ecosystem.
The new reserve represents a vital step forward in the creation of forest corridors, linking isolated species groups and extending existing habitat.
There are lots of things in here we don't even know they're there. But one thing we do know is here that the howler monkey, for example, uses this part of the forest and also that forest. Whether they're separate groups or whether it's one group that moves backwards and forwards, we don't know. Of course, the muriqui, which is the northern woolly spider monkey, the most endangered primate species of the Americas, that is found up there, and who knows, if we can restore the habitat here, who knows, the muriqui will not come back again once more to inhabit these forests where it used to live before. That would really be a triumph.
Less conspicuous discoveries have already been made nearby. 6 species of plant, together with 7 insects, all previously unknown to science, have been found recently by researchers.
They found a new species of frog which has not yet been described to science. It's not yet recognized in the scientific literature. So we know there are lots more things around here waiting to be discovered that science doesn't even know about yet. That's why it's very important to preserve these little bits of fragments while they're still here.
But the new reserve represents just part of the bigger picture. As urbanization continues to sweep across Brazil, farms here are being sold or abandoned. This presents a unique opportunity for the first time in centuries: the regeneration of a substantial area of rainforest.
There are farms along the top of the ridge which we would like to join up together to make a protected area that will preserve the whole ridge, so that we have a continuous corridor of forest which will go all the way from north to south. That's the long-term plan.
Currently, 6 farms occupy the land in question, running from the Serra do Brigadeiro State Park south along the ridge to Iracambi. 2 of the farms are expected to come onto the market soon, with the rest to follow.
If we can join up all those properties, then we can make one big areas of forest that will stretch for about 200 kilometres. That would be tremendous, tremendous achievement.
Iracambi has an impressive record of reforestation. To date, several thousand trees have been planted, regenerating 250 hectares of land. This expansion in habitat is already reaping rewards, as species of mammal and bird move back in. Like this masked titty monkey, listed as vulnerable by the International Union for Conservation of Nature.
We'll start replanting the trees later on this year when the rainy season starts. Wow, yeah, this water comes running down here, all the way down from up the top. You just have to block all these runaways down here. That wouldn't be too difficult to do. You could start that quite soon, actually.
Soon this area will have a covering of native trees for the first time in hundreds of years. Endangered animals such as the northern maracay will hopefully return, and countless others will be given a vital lifeline.
We think there's about 10,000 hectares that should be preserved. So if we can do our part, we will make a very substantial contribution towards the conservation of this extremely important disappearing forest.